I've been setting goals and trying different productivity systems for around 20 years. Nothing seemed to work, and for a long time I thought there was something wrong with me, that I was broken. But I'm not broken, and neither are you. The truth is, those systems weren't designed for someone who needs a more aligned, spiritual approach to planning. And they certainly weren't designed for neurospicy brains like mine, and maybe yours too. When I realised this, I began evolving a system that actually works, a system that brings together everything I needed: intuitive planning, astrology, and spiritual guidance. Because planning isn't something we do in a vacuum. Our goals become so much easier to achieve when we embed them in the ebb and flow of the energetic tides around us. Last year, I shared this system publicly for the first time, and this year I've extended it and made it even more useful. Welcome, kindreds, it's Jessica. So this is what my Vision Your Year planning guide looked like last year. It looks so much better this year, but this was the first iteration, and over 100 of you bought it, and I'm so grateful for that. And I know from the feedback that you guys have given me that you found it really useful, but it was kind of ugly, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of ugly. So I have completely updated it for this year. It's still available as a digital download, so you can get it as a digital download off my website. I'll put all the links and everything down in the description box, so you won't worry about that. But I've also made, because I know lots of you wanted a paper version, I am very much a paper planner, so I wanted a paper version. I've also made a hardback edition, this is the proof copy, which is why it has got this not for resale on it. They are for resale and you can buy them. Like I said, I'll put all the links and everything down below. I've made a hardback version. I've also made a softback, a paperback version, which is actually quite nice. I like this kind of bendiness of this version. I'm not sure which of these I'm going to actually use for my own personal one yet, so I'm still kind of deciding on that. This was the first iteration, and this was the second iteration. These are both available from Amazon worldwide. I know Amazon's evil, but it seemed like the best option to be able to get you guys a paper copy and be able to distribute it everywhere. If people enjoy this, then I'll make it definitely better next year. Maybe try and find a different printer or something like that. But yeah, this is how it's happening this year. So let me show you what's actually inside the planner. Like I said, if you want a digital version, you want to just do it in your own journal, then that is completely cool. The digital version is available as well. So just a title page, this vision for 2025 belongs to. So none of this was in the last one. So I'm really loving it. And then just some nice things. So I wrote a little letter to you as you're setting up your planning for 2025, because so often it can feel a bit lonely, I think, that kind of goal setting process. And so yeah, I wanted to kind of really know that, let you know that you've been held through this whole process. And then there's 4 sections to the book. So the first part is all about reflection, because when we want to set goals, we need to look at where we are now. There's no point in just kind of making stuff up from just from nothing. We need to embed ourselves, really kind of plant and root ourselves in where we are now, so that we know where we want to go. And I know for lots of us, especially women, that we can lose sight of our own selves, our own wants, our desires, really. So the idea of this book is it's going to help to draw that out. So the whole first section is about that, about kind of looking back. And then part 2 is gathering information. So gathering astrology, gathering a goddess guide, tarot reading for the year, a word for the year, the numerology for the year. There's loads of stuff in that gathering section. And then section 3 is the planning section. So that is where we actually start to make plans based on the things that have come up for us. And we know then what it is that we should be doing in this coming year. And then section 4 is a whole brand new section, which is about implementing. Because I feel like last year there was lots of help in kind of getting things set up and getting things started, but there was a little bit of a gap then for the implementation. So that is what section 4 is about. And I wanted to make it look basically, like one of my journals. So that was the idea. I've kind of put washi tape and stuff on it like that to try and make it look kind of journally. It doesn't completely look homespun, obviously, because it's printed by Amazon and it is a book, but it's I think it's cute. So much better than last year. It came out really nicely. I know a couple of you have bought it already, so thank you for that, and I hope that you like it. So part 1, this is just an introduction to part 1, letting you know about what to expect in this section. And then the rest of this is prompts, so you don't, like I say, you don't need to have the paper version if you don't want to. You can buy the digital version, and then you can work through it in your own journal if you want to. But look how cute it is. It's so cute. So celebrate yourself. This whole page is about celebrating yourself. And we've got prompts like, what achievements and milestones you're proud of this year? What personal goals did you reach or exceed? Did you celebrate any special occasions? I think celebrating yourself is the first thing, because so often we'll jump to the stuff that wasn't so good about the year. You know, it's easy to do that. And then we end up like bagging on ourselves really and being like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, or this happened that was terrible. So we start off by celebrating, and that puts us in a whole different frame of mind for the whole rest of it that comes after that. So gratitude, for much the same reasons. You know, there's like actual scientific studies showing how helpful gratitude is for people. Some special memories, a section for collecting those. And, you know, you may feel that you need more space than this, in which case, you know, you can take this into your journal as well. I use this in tandem with my journal, not just completely on its own. Or like I said, you could use it use the prompt straight into your journal, whichever works best for you. And then we do get into the hard stuff. So we've got difficulties, your challenging moments. Oh, I'm flicking my goddess. How did you navigate and overcome them? Is there anything you're still working through? You know, we need to really, like I said, get a gauge on where you are now. Learning, like what learning did you do? And not just like formal learning, but like things that you've learned, maybe about yourself, maybe about people around you as well, this year. Personal growth, you know, that's something that I know lots of you who watch this channel are very into, and like I feel like all humans should be into that. So that is the section there. Then we've got connections. So that is, you know, like our goals don't just happen in vacuums. Our personal growth doesn't happen in a vacuum either. You know, we need to be connecting in, and changes that we make in us ripple out to the people all around us as well. So, and things, the people around us also have an effect on us. So that is what this is looking at. Self-care, like I know it's kind of like almost a cliche to talk about self-care now, but it's so important. I still don't prioritize it as much as I should do. So that is something that I feel like is really important to reflect on. Our goals and intentions. So if you did set goals and intentions for this year, how did that go? And there's some prompts to help you kind of like work through that. Surprises. So that's one you don't often see. You know, it's like, what happened that you didn't expect this year? And like they can be good things or they can be difficult things. But I think it's a good idea to kind of take note of those, especially when we're looking at things like doing tarot readings and astrology, like for the year, because we might be able to see that there's like patterns and things then as well. Like the astrology kind of indicated, like this year we've had a lot of activations of Uranus happening. So like it's been a kind of surprising year in a lot of ways because of that, you know. So we've got that. Word of the year. I love word of the year. That is something that is in the next section as well. So if you had a word of the year, this is where you can reflect back on that. If you didn't, you can just leave that section out. Predictions. So I like to make predictions for my year ahead. And so I like to also then reflect, because the way that I get better at making predictions is by making them, seeing if I was right, you know, seeing where I was right, seeing where maybe was a little bit off the mark, and then refining. And like over the years, I've worked on that. And you get better and better. Oh my gosh, I'm looking out of my window as I'm recording this to you, and we're having Storm Bert here in the UK, apparently. Bert, like, of all the names for storms. And there's like a rain of leaves just like whirling around outside my window. It's amazing. Really dark already. And then guidance. So this is guidance from like spirit guides, deity, ancestors. If you had any guidance or support, like I like to have a goddess, like I have a lot of support. I have a whole like spirit team that are with me. But I do like to make a note, especially of the support that has been most kind of there for me this year, and reflect on that. And then a ritual to release the year, because we need to clear, you know, we always need to be clearing before we're moving on. It's so tempting to just be like, fresh start, you know, let's just sweep all that under the carpet, fresh start. But it just, oh, sorry, Frodo's barking out. But it just doesn't work like that, you know. We're still blocked if we don't actually let go of the stuff. We need to actually let it go so that we can then move on to the next year. And I'm going to hold a ritual at the end of the year, I think on the 30th of December, for everybody who has bought Vision Your Year. So if you buy it via my website, then I'll send you an email inviting you to that, where we're going to have like a ritual to release the year that's passed, and a road opener to open space, so we are ready for 2025 and all that is coming in. If you've bought on Amazon, then just drop me an email and let me know that you bought on Amazon, and I'll add you to the list so that I can let you know that we're having that ritual. So yes, that I think is very, very important. So important actually, and I think it's something that we miss a lot. And the how do you feel is for like after you've done the ritual. How do you feel after that? You might notice there are little like white pieces here. That won't be, this is because this is the proof copy, and then I made a few updates and changes, so now it should all be perfectly printed right to the edge of the page if you do buy it from Amazon. So, and then part 2, we're into collect. So looking at the numerology, I'm just kind of explaining what that's all about, specifically the numerology of 2025. So 2025 is a 9 years. We've got that kind of hermit energy. We've got that energy of completion. 2025 is going to be a year about kind of bringing this era to a close, bringing things to a close, and a lot of clearing space, ready for what is coming next in 2026. It's like that kind of pivot point halfway through this decade. And yeah, I feel like in some ways it's going to kind of feel almost, there's a lot of inner work this year that, you know, in 2025 that will be going on, maybe perhaps not quite so much outer. And that is exactly why I like to do this gathering, because it gives me an indicator of that. You know, it's like, is this going to be necessarily a good year for me to like be pushing on certain things? And it's like, well, no, maybe it's more of an inner work kind of year. So that's what I'll focus on, you know. So yeah, I talk you through working out your number for 2025 so you can get your personal number for 2025 as well as so 9 is for all of us, you know, because that is the energy for the whole year for everybody. But then you will have your own personal numerology number for 2025 as well, which you can work out and work through there. I've included a full, it's like 3-page astrology forecast for 2025. And I think this is going to be really, really helpful so that you can highlight bits of that kind of speak to you. Last year, I did include quite a bit more astrology in here for like personal astrology for you to work that out. But I know some people found it kind of confusing because, you know, we're all at different levels with these things. And some people like, you know, are very on top of things with their own charts. They know that. Some people don't. And like, you know, no judgment at all. But I didn't want to like include that, and then it's like it makes people feel like excluded, I suppose. So what I've done is I've still included astrology in here, and I've put like guidance for pulling out the themes for you personally, but I've also created like a separate workbook that is specifically about the astrology. So if you are an astrologer or you're a student of an astrology and you do want to like go deeper into your personal astrology, looking at particularly like your Time Lord planet, annual perfections, the houses that are activated for you in your chart, then I've created that whole workbook for you to do that. So, you know, it's like a kind of extra, an optional extra if you want to do that. And if you do buy the digital from my site, when you add the astrology workbook, it gives you a discount as well. So yeah, Tarot and Oracle, I give you a simple but really good year ahead reading, which you can do and write up in here. I made this the right size if you've got a sticker printer so that you can stick the sticker of the photograph of your cards there, but if not, you could just write your cards in. Goddess guidance. So, you know, working with goddess is like so fundamental to my practice. And so I've given a lot of information about like working with goddess through the year, and some space for working with your own goddess guide for the year. So I've given, you know, like tips for finding your goddess, ideas for how you might discover that connection. If you don't already, you know, you may already have a goddess guide that you work with. But yeah, I thought that would be useful here. Then word of the year. So word of the year is something that, you know, choosing one word for the year. I've got like a whole playlist of videos about this. It is so simple, but it's just so potent. It's like such a focused magic word where you just choose one word that really like encompasses your year. And like that word might be something that you're kind of like moving towards, or it might be something that you want to kind of like fully embrace, you know. It really kind of like depends on us and where we are. I am offering readings for a goddess guide and a word of the year combined on my shop, so I'll try and remember to link those in the description box as well. But there's also lots of guidance for finding your word in lots of different ways. You know, you don't have to have a reading, you can figure that out. But I find sometimes people are using this kind of like almost lightly, I guess, and like, you know, that's fine, it's fine to do that, but I think it's such a deceptively deep practice that I've kind of taken you through going a bit deeper into that practice in here, into the word of the year practice. Yeah, and then I've left some space for any additional gathering, you know, like if you use runes or if you use omens or, you know, all kind of different things like that. There's a little bit of space there for you, and I've put some of my favorite quotes in here as well as we're going through, just because it's nice. And then part 3 is about the planning. So in this section, we're identifying the areas, the kind of like broader areas of our lives, you know, like maybe it's like family, maybe it's your home, maybe it is work, maybe it's a relationship or something like that, you know, the kind of broader areas that you want to focus on this year. And like those will probably already be obvious from the work that you've done, you know, like looking back here, you're like, okay, these are the areas of my life which need the focus now going into 2025. And then talk you through how to like really like dial it down so that you know exactly where it is that you want to focus on, you know. So we go into each of those areas. So say you chose family, for example, like what aspects of this area of my life are currently thriving or bringing me joy? Can I identify strengths or positive patterns I want to maintain? And then we're also looking like what is working, what aspects of this area are causing stress, dissatisfaction or unhappiness? Because like with all of the areas, it's never like black and white. Well, very, very rarely is it like everything's positive about this area of my life or everything's negative about this area of my life. So we take the area that you are going to focus on and really like drill into it and find, you know, how satisfied am I with my progress in the area? What are my values and priorities in this area? What changes do I envision? What do I want to be visioning, bringing in? What is holding me back? This one really reveals so much stuff. How is my well-being in that area of my life? That's going to be quite an interesting one to dig into as well. Am I learning and growing? And like you'll find that for some of the areas, you'll have more to write on these things. And then some of the others will be like different things that will be coming up, which is probably obvious, but it still surprises me sometimes. It's like, oh, I don't seem to have loads to say about that. And then I have loads to say about something else. What support do I need? That is so important, because it's so easy for us to like set goals and then not realize that actually we don't have the resources to actually achieve those goals, and then we can end up like beating on ourselves for not doing it when actually it wasn't available to us, you know. Like if you've got young children, for example, and you want to I don't know, like learn, like do a PhD, let's say, something like that, that's going to be really hard. It's definitely possible for sure, but you're going to need support. You're going to need childcare. You're probably going to need like support with maybe like meals and things like that, you know, like kind of running of the home kind of stuff. So we need to think about that support and get that in place. So that's what this area is about. How do I want to feel? So this is about the visioning, you know, kind of like moving into that part of our lives and really like, what would it be like if this part of my life was working optimally for me, you know? Yeah. And then what is my vision? I had a little pen test on here as well. I was testing for bleed, and it doesn't actually bleed. There is a little bit of ghosting, like you can't actually see it here because it's like on that, but I think let me do it on this part so we can see it a bit better. So I'm using my fountain pen. So the hardback has what Amazon call premium paper. Like it doesn't, oh, it's actually really good. You can just about see it, but you can't see it really on this side. I can see it if I'm like letting the light shine through from behind. So yeah, it is actually pretty good. The paper in the paperback is a little bit thinner. Let me show you. I'll do a pen test on here as well. And I can feel that the paper in here is like kind of like the pen, the ink up more readily than, yeah, see, look. So if you want, like if you do like to use a fountain pen, then this is going to be no good. You know, you'll either have to get the hardback version, or, you know, do it digitally, or, you know, use it in, you just copy the prompts into your journal, get the digital and copy the prompts into your journal instead. Like this would be perfectly fine if you're using it with like a ballpoint pen, something like that. It doesn't show through. I'm trying to look for one of those now so I can show you. And this doesn't seem to be any around on my desk. That's just like typical, isn't it, when I'm trying to show you. Oh, here are. This is not a great pen, but like if I write with this one, I don't like writing with these pens very much. They always, my writing just looks terrible. But you can see like that's fine. Nothing shows through for that. So if you are going to get the paperback, just something to bear in mind, like it's not going to work with markers or with fountain pens. But this is not going to work with markers, I wouldn't have thought. Let me try. Probably should have done this before I made it. Oh, actually, yeah, it's actually pretty good. I don't like, yeah. So I'm kind of was a bit like, it feels thin. Like it does feel thin compared to like my journal paper, but then my journal paper is pretty much like card. So that's probably why I'm a little bit like, about the paper. But no, it's actually pretty good. Yeah, so that's good. And then, yeah, what is my vision? That's what we were moving into. So having that kind of bigger picture vision for that area of your life. But don't worry, because in part 4, that is when you'll start to kind of like break it down and get into more like granular goals. But this idea of part 3 is about taking that life focus area and really like examining it and figuring out like, why is it that I want to focus on that this year? What parts of that area of my life do I want to work on? How will that area of my life, that focus area, look when I have worked on it, you know? And then some notes pages. And then, because I've said you can identify 3 focus areas, I would really recommend, like, you can have 3, but 2 is probably better. And to be honest, like having 1 does make it so much easier to achieve your goals. But yeah, I have left space of the same prompts to work through focus area 2. So you can see this is all focus area 2. And then focus area 3, so the same prompts again. I did put like some different stickers and things on because I thought that was pretty. I wanted it to be like a little bit different as we were going through as well. There's some the same, some different. Yeah, focus area 3. So you can choose 3 areas if you want to, but just bear in mind that that is then splitting your attention 3 ways, isn't it? So, you know, you choose what is the right amount of focus areas for you. And it may be like that one of them is a much higher priority, and then there is some, you know, like lower priority things. And I got some spaces for that as we go through anyway. So part 4, implement. This is the whole brand new section that wasn't in this last year. So this is about taking your vision that you've come up with in your focus area and now turning it into like actionable goals. And so there's a bit of an explanation about that. And then you get to like brainstorm your action plan. Take it, you know, really like kind of get granular about what it is that you're going to do, what it is that you want. And then there's prompts then about how to take that and actually make it into goals that you can actually do in the year. Because otherwise, if it's just like something kind of vague, then we don't even always really know if we've achieved it or not. So I've done the same thing, you know, focus area 1, focus area 2, the same, focus area 3. So you can work through all of those things you want to work on. And then what we'll get off by the end of that section is we have the big vision goals. So these are the kind of the big overarching goals for the year, which go down here. And then I've included a page to commit, because it's very easy to like kind of set goals but not actually like follow through with them. And so you could create a whole little ceremony or ritual around this as well, where you commit to your goals, to your vision for 2025. So this is it's journal magic again, really, you know, it's journal magic, so that you can dedicate yourself to that. And there is something about signing your name to something that it makes a difference. Like, and it seems silly, but it does. It's like making it's not just the same as like thinking in your head you're going to do this. By writing it down, it brings it to a whole different level. And like if you do work with guides and things like that, you could call them to be with you while you commit to that. Ask them for their support while you commit, you know. And then these bits are for those like kind of little things that you know you want to get done in the year that aren't necessarily directly related to those big goals, because the big goals are those focus areas of our lives. They're those things that relate to like those big things that we know we need to make shifts and changes in. And like I said, with this being a 9 year, there's probably some sort of like completion, some inner work definitely that needs to be done this year. So there's a space for those like mini goals, like, you know, perhaps it's something like that's been getting on your nerves for ages. Like for example, we have got I've got a utility room, like basically by the back door, we had a leak, and they came and fixed the leak. It's all fixed now, but at the moment there's like just like raw plaster just on one sort of two little walls on the side of the pipe which was leaking, and it just needs to be rubbed down and painted. But it's been like that now for like, I don't know, about 7 months. So how long would it actually take to do it? Probably not that long, you know. It's probably like an afternoon, something like that. So that might be one of my mini goals for 2025. And that might be given the impression that I think you should put like kind of crappy jobs on your mini goals, and that is not what I mean to do. Like for me, I know that if I do that, it's actually going to have a very disproportionate effect on how good I feel, because every time I see it, I'm just like, you know, like it really brings me down. So it's not that I should do it, like I should do it. I talk about shoulds and how that's not a good place to be setting goals from earlier on in the workbook. But I know that it'll probably only take me a couple of hours, and I will feel so much better every time I go out there. It'll be like, you know. So that's a mini goal. A mini goal is something basically that you can achieve like in a few hours, in an afternoon, perhaps in a day. And then quick wins. These are often things that, again, that we maybe have been like putting off, and that are perhaps like completely unrelated to your main goals as well. So they have to be quick wins. They can't be like things that take a long time. So both of these are for like the smaller things, not for your big vision goals for the year. And then this is like taking you through what to do with the rest of them, what to do with those big goals. And I haven't like laid that out in journal format because our goals are going to be so different. They'll need different approaches. So what I've done instead is like talked you through how you can take that goal and then separate it out according to what sort of goal it is, basically. So like things like having check-ins, celebrating your victories, working with other people, maybe accountability, things like that as well. Ideas basically for how you can actually keep checking in on it and actually achieve that goal as you go through the year. Some extra prompts then as well every time you revisit. So I talk about like scheduling in when you're going to revisit those. And like for some of them, it might be that it's a goal that you don't even start until the second half of the year. I do sometimes approach mine like that, where I have like one goal that I work on until my birthday. And then because on my birthday, like a lot of things change energetically, you know, it's like I'm in a whole new year. For my annual perfection, there'll be a different planet is my Time Lord, you know, all that stuff that's in the astrology extra workbook. So like the goal that's relevant for the first part of the year may not be as relevant in the second part of the year. So I'll have like two big life focus areas that I'm working on, but one of them is like for the first part of the year and one of them is for the second part of the year, if you see what I mean. So like I won't check in on the one that I haven't started yet. Obviously I'm only going to check in with the one that I have started with, and all of it, you know, it explains all of this in the workbook. So you can like go through with that. And then just like a little kind of celebration of you basically at the end, and a little bit about me. So that is it. Like I said, the paperback is basically the same, apart from the paper is a little bit thinner, and it's also like the image quality is not quite as good, but I think it's obviously cheaper as well. Like Amazon is making a lot more money off them than I am. But I just really wanted to be able to bring a physical copy for you guys as well, because like for me, there's something different about writing it on paper than there is about writing it on digital. But I know that's not the case for everybody. Like some people like to work digitally, or what I suspect lots of you will do is like take these, like if you buy the digital, you'll take the digital prompts and then use them in your own journal, use them in your own planner. You know, and you can make it even more your own then. And then you could even do your like check-ins and things then as well in that same book. You could dedicate a whole book, couldn't you? A whole notebook to your 2025 goals, which could be kind of cool, although I am a kind of one book to rule them all person, so I tend to put everything all in my one planner. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on. Let me know what you think. I'll put all the links down below as well if you're interested in getting it. Thank you so much for being here. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.